muitíssimo agradecer a oportunidade que Sua Excelência, o primeiro-ministro Modi, nos concede neste momento. Nós viemos para uma reunião do BRICS, mas, gentilmente, Sua Excelência também converte esta nossa visita num encontro oficial. E, neste encontro oficial, que se deu durante toda a manhã, nós pudemos verificar as nossas complementaridades e as nossas afinidades. Tivemos já várias reuniões na manhã de hoje, quando tive a oportunidade de cumprimentar Sua Excelência, não apenas pelo sucesso da reunião do BRICS, mas também pelo fato de, no dia de ontem, ter nos dado a oportunidade de juntar à reunião do BRICS a BIMSTEC, ou seja, vários países do Golfo de Bengala que estiveram presentes quando nós pudemos, nós do Brasil e todos os demais países, nos integrarmos, ouvirmos as suas manifestações e as suas aspirações. Portanto, senhor primeiro-ministro, é um prazer extraordinário para nós outros, eu e a minha equipe, para esta visita bilateral.
Of Bengal that attended the session yesterday, and those of us from Brazil and also from other BRICS countries were able to hear their views, their opinions and their aspirations. And it has indeed, Prime Minister, been an outstanding pleasure for us all, and I speak in my name and also in the name of my delegation. It's been a great pleasure to hold this bilateral or conduct this bilateral visit to India. We all know that India in the past few years has experienced very substantial changes. Today, one of the largest global economies, India has grown at very high rates and currently shows a number of areas for complementary interaction with Brazil. And there's also another important coincidence. Currently in Brazil, we're also starting out a process of changing the country beyond recognition. Resumption of economic growth requires an active presence, not only, of course, in the domestic market, but also in the world's main markets. And that, of course, includes India. And we are therefore very much in tune with the priorities set under the Modi administration. These include upholding economic balance, creating jobs, and ensuring inflation is kept under control. During our morning sessions, I've had a chance to mention to Prime Minister Modi a constitutional measure that we're currently introducing in Brazil with a view to ensuring proper control of government spending. In other words, ensuring that the government will be able to spend only as much as it can collect by way of revenues, therefore setting a ceiling to government spending. These efforts have enjoyed substantial support from the Brazilian legislative. So I think it is fair to say that despite the geographical distance, the fact is that Brazil and India do share the very same set of values and objectives. All of us, both of our nations, Brazil and India, are among the world's largest democracies in the developing world. We will, of course, not deny that we are very large economies, obviously. We are countries that are endowed with technological capabilities in several areas, and we, too, have a global presence, both of our countries. Also, our two countries also agree on the need to enhance the rules and the existing international organizations. Accordingly, Brazil and India have worked in tandem and jointly at the United Nations organization level. His Excellency has raised extremely important points in our view, topics such as the defense sector, agriculture, and drugs, or medications, in other words, the drugs industry, the drug industry, pharmaceuticals. We have therefore agreed that we will send technical missions to come and visit India in these relevant areas of joint interest so as to scale up and expand our bilateral relations in these specific areas of shared interest. We have also completed the negotiations regarding the cooperation and investments facilitation agreement between our two countries. The agreement will obviously expand and boost legal certainty for investors. As part of our business meeting yesterday and again today, we have noted that there is a keen level of interest on the part of the Brazilian business community to invest their funds here in India. And we are likewise, of course, encouraging members of the Indian business community to likewise invest in Brazil, especially now at a point in time where we have launched a program called Prasar, which means growing. The growth program is aimed at granting a number of public utility services to the private sector by way of concessions. And I mentioned this to the Prime Minister earlier, and to start out, we have no less than 34 different concessions arrangements available covering ports, airports, railways, highways, the oil and gas industry, to name a few areas currently available for private sector involvement. Congress has also provided great support to upgrade or improve the legislation on these areas. We've also discussed joint initiatives in the environmental arena or the environmental agenda, particularly as regards renewables or renewable sources of energy. I have noted quite especially that recently Prime Minister Modi launched the International Solar Alliance, and Brazil is currently driving efforts as part of the so-called BioFuture platform. And these two plans can certainly move towards a path of convergence and complementarity. Brazil has therefore renewed its support to the Indian-launched International Solar Alliance, and we thus truly trust the integration between our two business communities, as well as the prospects for a very solid and sound integration between our two governments, the two government officials of Brazil and India. In this regard, I have taken the initiative and liberty of inviting His Excellency to carry out an official visit to Brazil. I indicated to the Prime Minister that his coming to Brazil would prove extremely useful not only to the Brazilian people at large, but also and particularly so to my administration. It would be a token of prestige. And having congratulated the Prime Minister for the very successful meetings held in India so far, I also, of course, thanked him for the opportunity of holding this official bilateral visit between the Brazilian government and the Indian government. So having said that, I think I can conclude my remarks by saying that this visit has indeed relaunched our strategic partnership. It is as such a partnership that will gear efforts towards a more competitive positioning of our two nations in global markets, with a view to ultimately ensuring the fully fledged development of our two societies. We do hope that this visit, and I have to say I regret that I will have